Hi everyone, it has been 2 weeks since we came back from our trip to Germany. My son was finally able to create a digital album of our adventure. He was the one who edited our videos and pictures. I was the one who did the itinerary, and we were able to see the places that we wanted to see, the food that we wanted to eat, and we had some extra adventure that weren't in our plan. This guidebook is the one that we used for the planning, and we also watched a lot of YouTube videos. There were some minor glitches in the execution of the plans, but nothing major. We're now ready to share them with you, and I hope you enjoy them. Our 7-day adventure begins in Newark Liberty Airport in April 2023 during my son's spring break. This was us running as fast as we could to catch a connecting flight. It wasn't our fault though, and we almost didn't make it. So we were so relieved to finally board and take our seats. The airline food was crappy, but after all that running, I felt I could eat anything. Yeah, almost anything. The flight took 7.5 hours, with 2 hours of severe turbulence over the Atlantic Ocean. Thankfully, we arrived safe.
Ladies and gentlemen, with that safe landing, we'd like to be the first to welcome you here to Munich. Your local time is approximately 16 minutes after 7 a.m.
After going through the immigration process and getting our luggages, we proceeded to the airport train station. We knew that our train ride would take around 40 minutes, so we had to get our train tickets from this machine. It was easy because it has English language options. We booked the hotel close to the train station, checked in early, and had our first breakfast at a cafe nearby. Hotel President was not a fancy hotel, but we liked it because it was close to the train station and much cheaper. Our room was small, with 1 queen bed and 1 twin bed, but we were comfortable and we felt safe. Most importantly, it had Wi-Fi. We liked the area where the hotel was because it was unpretentious, with small restaurants, convenience stores, and shops. Our first stop was Karlsplatz, which is one of the major squares in Munich. You can see here the Karlster Gate, one of the remaining gates of the old city walls built in the 14th century. At the western side, you can also see the Munich Hall of Justice. Once you walk through the Karlster Gate, you'll be in Neuhauser Street. It is a pedestrian-only street with shops and historic buildings on the sides. One of the buildings is St. Michael's Church, a Catholic Jesuit church. They say that it's the largest Renaissance church north of the Alps. Outside, you can see a bronze statue of St. Michael defeating the devil. Around this area, you will find the Frauenkirche or Church of Our Dear Lady. It is a Gothic-style Catholic church. Here in this video, I was forcing my son to take pictures of me. And as usual, he was pranking me by getting selfies of himself instead. There is a legend that is connected to this church. As you will see later, there is a footprint on one of the tiles by the entrance. It's called the Devil's Footprint. And Aries perfectly fits the size of the devil's footprint. Legend says that the architect ran short of funds while building the church and made a deal with the devil. The devil had to pay for the church as long as there will be no windows nor light coming in. The architect agreed, and as you can see, if you're standing from this angle, there seems to be no windows, but as you walk towards the altar, you will see light coming in through the stained glass windows. The devil realized this and stomped out of the church in anger, leaving the footprint behind. On the side, you can also see a cenotaph, which is an empty tomb or memorial to some member of the royal family. We continued walking along Neuhauser Street and came upon Marienplatz, the heart of Munich. Here you can see the new town hall in neo-Gothic style of architecture. It is the seat of Munich government. It has the glockenspiel in the middle, which is a clock with 43 bells that chimes at 11 a.m., 12 noon, and from March to December at 5 p.m. When the clock chimes, the figurines move. The ones in the upper portion depicts a wedding, and the lower portion depicts a scene from the Munich plague. Another monument here is the Mariensäule, built to commemorate the end of Swedish occupation in 1638. We continued to walk towards the old town hall, which is now a toy museum, until we reach Viktualienmarkt, a daily market where you can find fresh fruits, vegetables, and other kind of food. I chanced upon a stall with the traditional Lebkuchen, a heart-shaped cookie with inscriptions in the middle, the history of which dates back to the 14th century. And of course, we had to eat the sausages, our first taste of roast bratwurst. I couldn't figure out which is which, but the white and the red ones both tasted so good. This is us enjoying those sausages. Next, we checked out the pastries. So many kinds. We narrowed our choices down to the choco croissant, which is my son's favorite, the nougat wreath, and the Easter bunny, which is seasonal and is being eaten by my husband in this video. We tasted a few more breads, ice cream, and coffee from other stalls. We also saw white asparagus, which I have read to be an integral part of the German cuisine and culture. We did more walking until we reached a street nicknamed Deserters Alley, with bronze bricks commemorating those who opted to walk through this alley in defiance to the mandatory Nazi salute while passing a monument by the Feldherrnhall. Now we reach Max Joseph Platz. Here is a statue of King Max Joseph I, the Opera House behind me, and the residence in front of me. The yellow building with arched columns was also a palace in the past. The residence was the royal palace of the Wittelsbach family, and is now a museum. I apologize for all my pronunciations of these German streets and names. Inside the residence is the magnificent Hall of Antiquities, which housed the antique collection of Duke Albert in 1568. There is an unusual hallway in the palace where the statues, fountains, and decors are all made of and covered with shells, as you can see here. Another interesting room is the ancestral gallery hall with Rococo style interiors, and here we are looking at tea sets made of gold and other treasured jewels. We didn't explore the whole palace anymore, but it is worth mentioning that one can also go see the Cuveliers Theatre where Mozart performed his opera, The Marriage of Figaro. Dinner time came and we had our first meal of Franconian pork roast with skin, cooked in beer gravy with a side of pork dumplings, a typical Bavarian dish. So delicious. Aris also had his first taste of Munich's Augustiner lager beer. That ended our first day. The next day we went on a short trip outside Munich to the south to see the Neuschwanstein castle. We woke up early and walked to the Munich train station to hop on a train to a town called Füssen. Of course, we wouldn't miss a pastry store, so we just had to have them with our coffee. Aries had what looked like a cheese Danish, and I had a heart-shaped strawberry flavored pastry. Vincent was still full. We took the train and arrived in Füssen, which is a town very close to the border of Austria. It used to be a Roman trade route and is now known for violin manufacturing. There we took the bus to the town by the castle. There were already a lot of tourists when we got there. It is advisable that one should reserve tickets beforehand to enter the castle. We didn't plan to go inside though. The castle can be reached by foot from the town, or you can ride a bus or a carriage. We chose the latter. As you can see here, we're in line for the carriage ride. Neuschwanstein Castle was built by King Ludwig II of Bavaria as a retreat and in honor of the composer Richard Wagner. It also served as an inspiration for the Cinderella and Sleeping Beauty castles by Disney. We didn't go inside the castle anymore since we had seen the residence already the day before. But one of the things that I wanted to try here is something that I saw from one of the YouTubers who visited this castle. It is called the Quarkbolchen, which looks like a donut hole actually. It is served warm and rolled in cinnamon sugar. It is crunchy in the outside and soft in the inside. It is made of German quark cheese. We walked from the castle to the town eating the donut holes. That's just what I call them, but it's actually called quark balls. When we got back to the town, we had to wait for the next bus. And since we were still early, these two ate again. This time, currywurst with fries, which became Vincent's favorite, and another kind of sausage. That is the bus that we were supposed to ride back to Füssen. The bus ride to Füssen was just a few minutes of relaxing countryside drive where we were able to get to peek at German houses. This is Füssen town with hotels, restaurants, and a market in the park near the bus and train stations. Our return trip by train from Füssen to Munich was not direct because we wanted to get back earlier and we didn't want to wait for the non-stop train which was departing late. This time we had the chance to get a short but magnificent view of the Alps mountain from the Bavarian side. After several stops, we had to transfer to another train. And we almost dozed off as we chugged along the beautiful Bavarian countryside. When we got to Munich, we didn't go to the hotel. We took the subway right away and went to the museum areas. We got lost and found the obelisk, which according to Wikipedia is a memorial of those who marched with Napoleon to Russia in 1812. Two trains passing each other in the roundabout was a pleasant sight in this area called Karolinenplatz, named after the wife of Bavarian King Max I. We walked back until we reached Königsplatz, where you can see the Propylaea Gate built in 1862. The Archaeological Museum on one side and the Art Museum is also on the other side. The museum I was more interested in was the Alte Pinakothek because I wanted to see the famous self-portrait of the German artist Albrecht Dürer. Albrecht Dürer was a painter, printmaker, and theorist of the German Renaissance. And this is one of his famous self-portraits. We walked again and passed by the Modern Museum, where there is a prototype of the Futuro house outside. It was a design made popular in the 60s by a Finnish architect. And here you can see an alien making faces. We reached Odeonplatz, which has always been and still a site of gatherings and meetings. In the middle is Feldherrn Hall. On one side is the Theatine Catholic Church, and on the other side is part of the residence. Hungry and determined to have the Hofbrauhaus experience, we tried the second time to get a table here. I forgot to make a reservation. It was already packed with customers even if it was still early. Hofbrauhaus is a beer hall originally built in 1589. There is no seating policy here besides making a reservation. All you have to do is enter the hall, look for an available table, sit down, and then the waiters will come to you. But unfortunately, we couldn't find a table inside. At this point, we thought we snagged one, but it was reserved. So we just continued to wait. After a while, we just decided that we were gonna sit outside. Aries ordered a dark beer, and Vincent tried what he called his best meal yet, although it doesn't show in his face in this picture. Roasted Bavarian duck with beer gravy. I had another roast pork in beer gravy and their famous soft pretzel.